Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be having a look at how the new 10th edition of Warhammer 40k plays. And this is thanks to a great article by Warhammer.com written by Alex Evans over the weekend. And Alex was lucky enough to be at Warhammer Fest and managed to get some of the rules from the new 40k written down and shared it on their website. And he was kind enough to let me use the article to bring this video to you here today. And a shout out to Corey from my local club who pointed me in the direction of this article. He shared a link the other day on our group page, and so I had a look. I thought it was brilliant. And I think it answers a few questions that you might have. I certainly had some of them. Really good to get some clarification about some of the rules from someone who was actually at Warhammer Fest and got to have a go at the trial game. So in this video, I'll be breaking down each part of the article, working through 8 new rules highlighted by Alex at Wargamer.com. A little disclaimer before we go on. It does say in the article that we need to bear in mind that all these rules were noted down quickly mid-game. And even though the game was ran by Nick Baton, he did say himself that he may have got something or remembered something a little bit wrong. So just bear that in mind. And also, this isn't a sponsored video or anything. I just really liked the article and I thought it was something interesting that you'd want to hear about. Let's get started then and have a look at 10th edition Blast. And Blast weapons are going to work a little bit differently in the new 10th edition. One example they gave in the article is that if you're firing at a 30 model unit with a Blast weapon, and that weapon would fire a regular D6 shots, for example, you'll get D6 plus 6 shots in total. And that's because you can now add 1 additional attack dice per 5 models in the target unit. So if that target unit has only got 5 models, it'll be D6 plus 1. If it's got 10 models, it'll be D6 plus 2, and so on. I like this new change to the rule. It's quite a simple change, quite straightforward, but I really like it. I think it's going to be really easy when working out on the tabletop just how many shots you're going to make with any blast weapons. Let's have a look at Overwatch next. Now this is still going to be a stratagem, and it's still going to cost you 1 command point, and it's still limited to only once per turn. The new change though is that you can use it even when it is not the charge phase. So if an enemy unit ends its move in range of you, then you can take a shot at it. So that means in the movement phase or the charge phase, you can use Overwatch. So that's really cool. Another way of having a reaction against the enemy, and when your opponent's moving around, you can really take advantage of that and decide whether or not you want to use Overwatch. But as they point out in the article from Wargamer.com, you're only going to get 1 command point each command phase, so any Overwatch shooting is going to limit your stratagem options for the next turn. So command points are going to be quite limited by the sounds of things, so whether you'll be using Overwatch will be quite a big decision, and bearing in mind you're going to have to choose that over some other stratagems that might be more effective in the battle. So that's pretty interesting. Next up, there's a little change to the objective markers. Now things have changed in 10th edition where no model can stand on an objective marker anymore, and you can't end your move covering any part of that objective marker whatsoever. And the whole point of this, as Nick Baton pointed out at the event, is that it's there to make sure all players can clearly see all the objective markers on the table at any time. I've always liked the idea of using 3D objective markers. Certainly for narrative games, it's really cool to have something that represents an actual objective in 3D form. And now, because of the way this is going to work, it's almost going to encourage the use of those 3D objective markers. So I really like this change as well. Nothing really going to affect any of the rules as such, but nice and clear, everyone can see. And we can get kit bashing some nice objective markers too. Right, let's have a look at the fight phase next. There's a few changes here to look at. First up is engagement range, and the rules for piling in at the beginning of the fight phase, they remain the same as 9th edition. But the rules governing who can fight afterwards have changed a little bit. Let's have a look at how that's going to work then. So melee engagement, they say in the article, is pretty straightforward. A model that is in base contact with an enemy figure can fight it, as can any models that are in base contact with them. So in 9th we'd have to get within 1 inch, and then there was that rule that you could be within half an inch of another model that's within half an inch of an enemy, but now it's base contact, which I really prefer. You don't have to measure, you just look at it. If the bases are in contact, you can attack. There's a slight change to consolidation. Units that aren't engaged with the enemy at the end of the fight phase can still make their 3-inch consolidation move, but only if it puts them in control of an objective or if it puts them in engagement range of an enemy unit. That's quite an interesting change. No more sneaking that extra 3 inches of movement now, but you can only do it if one of those conditions is met. So either getting in control of an objective or putting yourself within engagement range of an enemy unit. Let's have a look at desperate escape tests next. In 10th edition, you're going to have to make battle shock tests. These are going to be made by rolling 2d6, and then you need to equal or beat the unit's leadership stat. If you don't achieve that, then you're going to become battle shocked for the round. And if your unit is battle shocked, its objective control will drop to 0. And then that means it won't be able to hold any objectives. And if it falls back from combat, it's going to then have to take a desperate escape test. To take a desperate escape test, what you'll need to do is roll a dice for each model that is falling back. And then for every result of 1 or 2, that model is going to immediately flee the battlefield. It's gone. This is going to then replace the 9th edition combat attrition tests, but you're only going to have to do it if you fall back from combat. Next up is battle shock test, but quite specifically, this is all about the Screamer Killer and how it can force battle shock tests to be taken. In 10th edition, a unit will have to take a battle shock test when they're below 50% of their starting strength. But there's going to be certain other conditions that can trigger battle shock tests, and the example that was seen at Warhammer Fest is that of the Screamer Killer's Bioplasma attack. This is a blast attack weapon, and one of the abilities it comes with is that it can trigger an automatic battle shock test on any unit it hits. So all it has to do is hit a unit, and then it's going to cause an automatic battle shock test, and it's going to give them a -1 penalty. That's pretty cool for this model, so even if the weapon doesn't cause any wounds or any damage, it still triggers that battle shock test. So this is going to be a really effective tool. Certainly if you split fire just looking for hits to cause those tests, that's going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see how people play this model. Right, now we're on to 10th edition Space Marine Sergeants. They're getting some changes now. So in combat, there's a little change. Space Marines are going to get a flat 3 attacks. There's no more shock assault, so it doesn't matter what unit, whether they're a line trooper or a sergeant, they're going to get 3 attacks. That's really nice. And sergeants are still going to get their different war gear options, so you can customise your sergeant, make him that little bit tougher and a little bit more of a threat to the enemy. There you go, that's the 8 new rules that were learned playing Warhammer 40K 10th edition, thanks to Wargamer.com and Alex Evans who wrote the article. Let me know what you think about these changes, anything jumping out to you? Have you picked up anything new here? Love to hear your thoughts. I'm pretty excited about 10th edition. I think it's going to be really fun to get everyone on a level playing field, and for a few months at least, the rules are going to be all the same for everybody, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be really good fun. Also looking forward to getting hold of those data cards and seeing how that's going to work, and the new free rules online is a real bonus too. So very excited, lots to look forward to, and if you're thinking of playing a tournament under new 10th edition rules, I've got my tournament coming up on Sunday, the 20th of August 2023 in Liskeard, Cornwall in the UK. Tickets will be going on sale this weekend, so look out on my website. I'll keep you up to date here on my YouTube channel and also on all my social media channels as well. Can't wait for that. It's going to be a great fun event where we can play new 10th edition and have a really great time. Lots of cool prizes, some awesome sponsors. It's going to be a brilliant day. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you a good insight into how 10th is going to play. A little sneak peek at least. But thanks again. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Subscribe for more videos like this one. And I look forward to seeing you here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters for helping me to keep going with these regular videos. I couldn't do this without you, and I appreciate your support so much. If you'd like to join the Patreon community, support the channel, get some great perks at the same time, there's a link down below in the description. It'll be awesome to see you there.